So as I mentioned just briefly previously, getting rid of feedback is going to be much better accomplished by how you set up your stage and how you use your microphones. And so I want to now demonstrate some things about microphones to better explain how you would do that. So there's two main things about microphones you want to consider as you're considering which mic you use for which application and how you place them. The first one is frequency response. Frequency response is basically how a microphone is sensitive to different frequencies. Most people think a microphone just picks up exactly what's in front of it, but that's actually not true. Most microphones are tuned. So for example, this microphone I showed you earlier is tuned for the human voice and tuned for people speaking really close up to it. So what it does is it gets rid of, it doesn't pick up the low end as well, and it slightly boosts the high end. And it doesn't do the very, very high end. So this mic will be good on a human voice, but might not be great, for example, on a violin. Violin, you'd want more detail, and you would want it to go up to a higher range. So it's good to know at least a little bit about your microphones, how they're picking up the sound before you ever use them or place them. The next one is pickup pattern. And again, most people assume that all microphones just pick up whatever is straight in front of it. And the reason why that is the vast majority of microphones, that's exactly what is the case. This particular microphone, it's hard to see on here, but it's actually a cardioid microphone. It's usually labeled. And what that means is there's a heart-shaped pickup pattern. That's why the word cardioid. So essentially it picks up the most in the front, and as you turn it, it gets weaker and weaker, and to the point at the back it's almost entirely dead. And so again, that makes the most sense that you point this at something, and that's what it picks up. If you point it away, it will not pick it up anymore. This is really useful because, for example, if someone has a speaker on the ground pointing up at the mic, it's actually almost not going to pick up at all on the mic because it's pointing at the deadest spot on the mic. And I'm going to demonstrate that for you, how that works. So on this microphone, again, as I'm pointing up to it, it's about one level. But as soon as I start turning it, you're going to notice it get quieter and quieter and quieter. As I get to the back, there's basically no signal at all. But as I turn forward again, you get nice good level. So this microphone is clearly a cardioid mic, and as you go to the back, it is almost entirely dead. But that lavalier mic I showed you previously, I'm going to just adjust a little bit to make it even less prone to feedback. Lavalier mics are omnidirectional. So essentially omnidirectional means it picks up all the way around itself almost exactly evenly. The reason why you might want that, particularly for a lavalier mic, is if it's pinned to your chest the way mine is here, and if I turn my head, if it were cardioid, you could hear how much of that signal would die away, and you would lose it. With omnidirectional, it still loses some of its signal because you're further away from it, but not nearly as much. Secondly, sometimes people will put these on themselves who don't know how to place them properly, so they might even have it 100% upside down. So if they place the microphone 100% upside down, you'll still pick it up just as well as if they had it on correctly. So there's other reasons as well, but those are the main two reasons. Like they're less prone to wind noise, so pa, pee, puh, they're a little bit less prone to that. And those are the main reasons why you would want to use an omnidirectional mic. But as I mentioned earlier, they're actually much more prone to feedback. So there's some drawbacks to them. But just to demonstrate that pickup pattern, so if I have this mic, there we go. And as I turn it, it'll be almost exactly the same volume. If there's any difference in volume, it's only because I'm not turning it exactly evenly. But essentially that is exactly the same volume no matter which way I turn it. So that's just good to have in mind whenever you're picking a microphone.